Well, here's one way that I know that the enemy has been able to work on women who have been abused by men in some way, either in an abusive marriage, an abusive father, sexually, physically, verbally. The one reaction that the enemy I've seen in so many women, and I've seen in many feminists, that reaction is that we begin to have a certain idea about men. Oh, men always do this, or men are always this way, or and we may not use the phrase "all men are this way," but it's implied, and every man listening to your attitude feels that way. They feel, "Are you talking about me? Are you talking about me too?"
Yeah.
Speaking of me too. The men are all like, "Are you talking about me too?" And we begin to get an idea, which the enemy is trying to sell us on. He is trying to sell us a case of like, well, men are that way.
Yeah.
All men are that way. And I don't allow those phrases even jokingly to ever enter into my life. They deteriorate the healthy relationships I have with the men in my life.
Yeah.
If I were to say, well, men...
Right.
Even jokingly. Well, men leave they just leave their stuff laying around. That's what it's like to live with a man. Even jokingly. Well, you're going to be in the doghouse tonight. These wry, sarcastic comments about the men. It is a case the enemy is building and we have allowed into our conversation and into our thinking. And I think it would have been easy. I could see where easily that the enemy could have shot me off in that direction as well.
Right.
Where you begin to build it builds an idea that, well, all men have these tendencies. It's also something he had to work past in me because I still hear it. It's just in the world. Like men have a very, very heavy sexual appetite and all men are like this and they all struggle with this and
they're all pervy and
they're just
all
a little
gross,
bit. They're all going to be,
they all just want sex.
They all just want this. They only have this on their mind. And it begins to build an idea that they're more beast than man.
Right.
That they are more,
and they don't have control or
that they don't
thought
have control,
or desire over
right?
these impulses.
And that intimacy doesn't mean very much to them, especially when we describe sex and the terms that we always describe sex in, that it's more of an emotional experience for a woman, more of a physical experience for a man. Well, that leaves a certain impression. It gives a certain idea. And the enemy can begin to build a certain case in your mind. And you begin to just view men as a certain way, and it affects your attitude, your perspective, and you become inadvertently prejudiced, and you become hardened towards them, and a little bit less favor towards them, and you're not really sure what you're getting. You can't trust them fully.
Yeah.
They're a certain kind of creature. They're a certain kind of beast.
Yeah.
And so we have to just always be aware, like, yes, there's these good qualities too, but there's a beast. And some feminists, of course, have just let it completely spoil their attitude towards men, unfortunately. And to all of that, I have to say that my testimony is I have known some fantastic men in my life. I have had the privilege of like they've made a greater impact on me than women, men, in a very, very positive way. I just have been so blessed in that area. And so I counteract that idea with my testimony, which is, well, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Maybe you haven't had the privilege of knowing some fantastic men in this world. But I have.
Yeah. And
I'm very blessed to report that like they have done such good for me. They have been so good for me.
Yeah.
And the Lord has, my story has been very redemptive, very, very redemptive because of this. Have I met a few that did some damage too? Yes. Was it really bad? Yes, it was. But also, how can I counter, the Lord just counteracts it with so much good.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of that scripture where it says he overcomes evil with good.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done is like, just, oh yeah, you're going to try to do a little evil to her? All right. I'm going to bring her some of the greatest guys that are on this planet. And so I was like, so there. And so, and you're just, wow.
Yeah.
So it's very redemptive. And that is what the Lord is always working to do.
Yeah.
Is redeem our lives, redeem our story, redeem the works of the devil.